Joining us now is Democratic Senator Gary Peters. He's the ranking member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee and a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, great to have you here this morning.
Great to be with you.
Do you understand what the imminent threat was?
We don't. We are waiting to hear what that may have been. We're going to have a briefing for members of the Senate sometime this week, but I think we have a lot of questions as to really how imminent it was. But I think the other question that I certainly want to have answered in that briefing as well is that if there is an imminent threat, the Department of Defense would come up with a number of different options that were available to the president. My question is, what were those other options, and why did the president pick this option, and how does this option fit into a broader strategic plan that the administration has? I think we know that we really can't see a strategic plan that has been put forward, but what was the thought process that went into this very consequential decision?
And does he owe you that explanation? I mean, does the president owe Congress to share his thought process, or does he, as president, have the purview to act against what he believes is an imminent threat?
Well, he does have an obligation to talk to Congress. Actually, our founders wanted to make sure that Congress had a role in war making. In fact, the power to make war resides in the Congress. The founders believe that there needed to be a check on executive power. And we know when we go into a conflict anywhere in the world in the past, we're always stronger when we are united. We need to be united, the Congress, the American people, the executive. We should all be united before we send men and women into harm's way. It is the most serious decision anybody in elected office can possibly make. And we've got to make sure we're making that decision based on facts. We want to make sure that decision is based on sound intelligence and understand that we are all united, not just as a country, but it also helps to be united with our allies. And right now we're in a situation where our relationship with our allies is very tenuous at best as a result of actions from this administration. You're dealing with a very skeptical American public for obvious reasons with this administration. And it doesn't appear that we have any kind of diplomatic channels open with the Iranians. So this is a very precarious situation that the president has put us into.
Well, the White House says that they did meet the 48-hour window to alert Congress. They briefed, I guess, or sent a statement at least to the Gang of Eight. But Speaker Pelosi has raised questions about that notification that just begs some answers. She says the Classified War Powers Act notification delivered to Congress raises more questions than it answers. This document prompts serious and urgent questions about the timing, manner, and justification of the administration's decision to engage in hostilities against Iran. The highly unusual decision to classify this document in its entirety compounds our many concerns and suggests that the Congress and the American people are being left in the dark about our national security. Do you know what she means? Do you understand what is so highly unusual about what the White House did with this?
Yeah, it is unusual, and I think it is important for certainly for the White House to put out the reasons for the attack and the imminent nature of it. We need to understand it. Certainly, Congress needs to understand it in a more detailed fashion than I believe is in that document. We'll know more this week when we have our briefing. But I think you're going to have a room full of at least Democratic senators that are going to have an awful lot of questions for this administration. And we want to be united. If this is an imminent threat, we are all going to be there. There isn't anything more important than protecting our country. I served as an officer in the U.S. Navy Reserve. I served with patriotic men and women who are committed to defending our country. But we want to make sure that it's being done based on facts, and it's based on good intelligence, and it's being done in a way that furthers the national interest and our strategic objectives in the region. Yeah. These are serious questions. These are important questions that have to be answered. And if the administration is unwilling to do that, that should raise all sorts of danger flags.
We just had former Obama Homeland Security Advisor Lisa Monaco on with us, and she said that her biggest fear is that they will retaliate with a cyber attack. Is that your biggest fear of what Iran will do next? And as someone on the Homeland Security Committee, are we prepared for that?
Well, cyber security is a critical issue, and I think the cyber threat just generally is a major threat that we face as a country, whether from the Iranians, the Russians, the Chinese, and others. We do know the Iranians have very sophisticated cyber attack capabilities. We would not be surprised to see those capabilities used against particularly soft and critical infrastructure in the United States. That's why the Department of Homeland Security has stepped up their efforts to make sure they're working very closely with some of the private entities, private companies as well, that control critical infrastructure. But we have to be focused on this. We have to be prepared and understand that it is, without question, a very serious threat.
All right, Senator Gary Peters, thank you very much. Please let us know what you can share after you are briefed with all of this.
Will do.